The FBI is going to be spearheading the effort collectively with our partners at the Department of Energy and the Department of War. These missing and killed scientists and former professional members of the Department of Energy vary in wide range, and we're working most importantly with our state and local partners who have the jurisdiction on each of these cases, whether they be a homicide or a missing persons case. They have the evidence. So what we're going to do is collectively pull it all into one place. We started this process last week, and then we're going to look for connections, like you said, on whether there are connections to classified access to classified information and or foreign actors, and then we will produce that information to the White House and the world because it's of such great public importance. And if there's any connections that lead to nefarious conduct or conspiracy, this FBI will make the appropriate arrest.
And that's FBI Director Kash Patel with me on Sunday Morning Futures as the FBI accelerates its investigation into at least 11 missing or dead scientists. The scientists were all working in space and defense, nuclear power research, and they've either died or mysteriously disappeared, beginning in 2022. The search is now expanding across multiple federal agencies, including the Department of War, NASA, the FBI, and the Department of Energy. Joining me now with more is Fox News contributor, former FBI special agent, and author of The Two FBIs, The Bravery and Betrayal I Saw in My Time at the Bureau. Nicole Parker is back with us. Nicole, good to see you. What do you think this is about? 11 scientists either dead or missing, one apparently killing herself, and even though she said she was not suicidal?
Well, this is extremely complex, and I'm glad that the FBI is looking into this, and I'm very grateful that President Trump and his administration take this extremely seriously. Like President Trump said, you know, this may all be a coincidence, but there's one thing that we know about our commander-in-chief. He does not let people mess with American lives, and that is these U.S. scientists are no exception. So to determine what exactly happened, the FBI will need to dig in with multiple agencies, again, like Kash Patel said, looking in with the local jurisdictions of each of their individual cases and seeing are there any links, patterns, or signs of foreign intelligence service being involved or espionage. I think it's important to note, Maria, that these scientists were all involved in nuclear weapons, aerospace, defense infrastructure. And why does this matter? Why is there a question in our mind that this could be nefarious? It's because we all know that we are in fierce competition with China, Russia, Iran. The NASA administrator, Isaacman, just recently testified before Congress, and he said very clearly that the race to getting back to the landing on the moon and even making it to Mars is a very fierce competition with China. And the difference between winning and losing is within months, not years. So there's nothing more that our foreign adversaries would like to see than for us to lose. And there's no question in my mind that they would go to any length necessary to win that space exploration or win in the nuclear weapon department. But again, America, we're not going to tolerate that. And I can tell you that there's no suggested link to say, yes, these are linked. That would be premature and irresponsible to say, but it is smart and wise to look at it. And it's important also to note, espionage typically involves, there's no question in our minds that espionage has involved U.S. scientists in the past. Typically, it does not involve death and abductions. It's more spying, bribery, recruitment, things of that sort, but it's not to say that it can't happen. So when you look at the pattern and you see that 5 scientists are missing or vanished, 2 have been murdered at their homes, 1 was an alleged suicide, 1 was allegedly a national, they died of a natural cause, such as cardiovascular disease. 1 individual, there was no autopsy performed, but they did not believe that there was foul play. And 1 individual, sadly, was found, after a frozen lake had thawed out, and his body was found 3 months after he went disappearing. And so these are important things to look at. And Maria, I have to mention it. Just even yesterday, I was doing research. Another individual who worked out of Huntsville, Alabama for NASA, all of a sudden his Tesla exploded and burned, and his family thought, he had gone missing, and they actually thought that he may have been abducted. So that might be another scientist that they may be adding to the list. But there is a pattern. 3 of these individuals were from NASA's JPL out of California and Pasadena. 2 were out of the Los Alamos National Lab in New Mexico. 1 was from the Kansas City National Lab, and 1 was a retired general.
Pretty extraordinary. I was going to say, you know, what specifically would the FBI be looking at right now to get to the bottom of it? But I want to move on because I don't think we have that information right now. I know the FBI is conducting a raid also with local officials in Orange County, California right now. They arrested dozens in a major crackdown of the Mexican Mafia, they say. Authorities seized nearly 9 pounds of fentanyl, 120 pounds of methamphetamine, 2 pounds of heroin, more than 6 pounds of cocaine, 25 firearms, and they also seized $30,000 in cash, Nicole. Your thoughts on this?
You know, this is a very important thing that we crack down on these gangs. It's been a huge problem, and we know that the Mexican Mafia gang is the #1 gang in California. And what makes it interesting or unique is that it's actually run from the prison. The king of the gang is literally operating from the prison with, you know, phones that have been smuggled into the prison, contraband, and then they call out their orders from prison to those on the outside. This includes things like robberies, extortions, murders, illegal gambling, drug trafficking, you know, things that are extremely dangerous. And I think it's important to note that they did seize 120, I believe, pounds of meth, 8 pounds of fentanyl. Like you said, over $30,000 in cash, 25 firearms. This is what making America safe looks like. Take the violence, take the gangs off of the street, and let's get back to being safe. And California, we know, needs help from the feds because, you know, they have different policies that don't always allow this to happen. But we do have to give credit to the Santa Ana Police Department and the local jurisdictions and other federal agencies that work with the FBI. We all know that the FBI cannot do the job alone. This is all hands on deck, and the locals certainly deserve several of the accolades for this takedown.
All right, Nicole, thank you. Great analysis as usual. Nicole Parker, we'll see you soon.